If you've watched some of my previous videos, then you know that I can shoot right and left-handed. And I learned how to do this just to prove that anybody in the world can become a shooter. And by doing this, I've learned so much about my mechanics, and I want to continue to share with you exactly how you can become a shooter. So here, obviously, you can see that I'm able to just switch back and forth, right and left, and this is me hitting 12 in a row. After this, I showed you in a previous video that I attempted to shoot 100 left-handed threes, which is my offhand, and try to see how many I could hit. And it's the first time that I ever did it, and I believe, if I remember correctly, that I hit 55. So this is the second attempt at me shooting 100 left-handed threes, just to show you the improvement. And so this right here is what I actually did to improve. I stood right next to the basket, did some form shooting, did this a couple times a day. I honestly didn't have a whole lot of time to get up a ton of shots, so I just did a bunch of form shooting just to make sure that my mechanics felt really good, make sure that I could shoot the ball all right. So here's the second attempt at me shooting 100 left-handed threes. Pay close attention to the ball that I'm using. It is half orange and half black. And I'm using this to be able to get my hand placement down every single time and try to shoot the ball exactly the same. You can also see my rotation on the ball. And if I'm shooting the ball correctly, it will not waver very much. It'll have beautiful rotation. If I have a little bit of a bad flick or something else is going on with my shot, then you can notice that it starts to turn and not spin perfectly, or if I just didn't place my hands correctly. But for the most part, you'll see throughout all 100 shots, it's never gonna turn sideways. You'll always be able to see half black and half orange. Just depending on how I rotate it or how I caught it or how I let it go, it'll be either perfect or kind of just wiggle a bit. If you want to get one of these balls yourself, I'll leave a link down in the description below for the TrueSpin Ball, and that way you can go ahead and get one and get your hand placement right and work on your rotation, make sure that you're shooting the ball correctly. So here you can see I started off pretty good. I'm 15 for 20, and then we'll continue to push on from there. I had some really good streaks where I believe for the most part I was hitting about 6, 7, or 8 out of 10. I did have one really bad spell where I only got 4. But overall, I think I did really well on this one, and I felt really comfortable. I didn't fatigue as early as I did last time, so that's a huge plus. Now, the biggest thing with the consistency is trying to make sure that you shoot the ball the same way every single time. And so you will miss, but your goal, and it's going to be different for everybody, but for me, when I'm shooting with my right hand, my goal is always going to be don't miss 2 in a row, because I know that I can immediately make an adjustment, and if I do miss 2 in a row, there's no way in heck that I'm missing 3 in a row. Now with my left, of course, it's not as good. So my goal with my left was try not to miss 3 in a row. And it did happen at times, and I did miss 3 in a row, but I knew for a fact that if I miss 3, there's no way that I'm missing 4 in a row. And so this all kind of goes back to exactly why I learned how to shoot left-handed, and why I'm trying to even improve it a little bit now, just to show you that it's not that hard. And if you work on your form and you get your technique down and you're shooting the ball with perfect form, then you as well can become a phenomenal shooter. And I'm not even that great right now. By the time that I finish this drill, you'll see that out of 100 makes, I was well above 50%. If I remember correctly, I shot even above 60%, and you'll see at the end here. But me shooting with my left hand, if I can do that, there's no excuse why you couldn't shoot with your dominant hand, whether that is your left hand or whether that is your right hand. Let me know down below in the comments what you need to improve on in your shooting. And the best part in the world is if you already know what you need to improve, that makes it a lot easier. Some of you don't actually know what's wrong with your shot, and that makes it a lot harder. So if you do want me to help you and tell you exactly what's wrong with your jump shot and how we can fix yours, shoot me a DM on Instagram at R2Bball. I do shot breakdowns. They are not free, but I will show you exactly what you need to fix in your shot and exactly how you can continue to improve it to become a better shooter and a better scorer overall. It's not very expensive at all, and it's something that I do a lot that helps plenty of players all over the world. So if you want me to help you fix your shot, that way you can know what you can do better, shoot me a DM. The only thing I did was just do form shooting every single day. I have one hand underneath the ball, the other hand on the side. Sometimes I wouldn't even have my guide hand touch the ball because I want to make sure that I was shooting it perfectly one-handed and getting my snap down. And then from there, after form shooting every single day, then I'd just scoot back a little bit and then do the same thing over and over again. I truly believe that anybody in the world can become a shooter, at least a decent shooter. Maybe not phenomenal, but I know that anybody can become at least decent. And so what's holding enough people back right now is that many people are actually afraid to get worse before they get better. Let's say hypothetically that you have a friend who shoots the ball incorrectly and can knock down about 6 out of 10 high school threes. Not that great, not that special, but it's all right, I guess. And so if they were to fix their form for maybe the next 2 to 3 months or so, they would probably only be able to make 2 out of 10 or 1 out of 10. And so that player would be scared of what's happening and revert back to their old form instead of trusting the process and continuing to work on fixing their shot and shooting the ball correctly. And then over time, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 months down the road, they skyrocket back and they can start to make 6 or 7 out of 10 again. But now they're shooting the ball correctly. Another few months goes by and then they're making 9 or 10 out of 10 consistently from the high school line. Then they start to step back to the international line, start to step back to the NBA line, and their range has continually increased and their accuracy and consistency has increased as well. So not only do they stop shooting 6 out of 10, now they're making 9 or 10 out of 10, and they're improving the range and continuing to go further and further. But at that current moment when you're worse, when you can only make 1 or 2 out of 10 before you get better, that's a really scary moment for a lot of players. That's really hard for a lot of players to understand and to trust that process. So what they do instead is revert back to what kind of worked for them before, and that's why most players will go back to their old form and not be able to fix their shot. But the ones who do trust the process and allow themselves to get a little bit worse before they become immensely better, those are the players that will make it. And obviously the best thing that you can do is to start from the get-go shooting the ball correctly, not even build bad habits to begin with. And that's why I continually preach all of these good mechanics. And I understand that not everybody in the world is going to shoot it the same, but let's at least try to build a good foundation for a lot of players to shoot the ball as close to perfect form as possible. So I hope that me being able to hit 67 out of 100 three-pointers with my left hand helps in some way to motivate you, or helps in some way to help you understand that anybody in the world can become a shooter.